You think you found this video by chance. You think you clicked on it because something caught your eye, because the algorithm served it to you, because you were scrolling through your feed looking for something to watch. But what if I told you that you're being here right now, reading these words, listening to this voice, is the most deliberate thing that has ever happened to you? What if every step that led you to this moment was orchestrated by a version of you that already knows what you're about to discover? Here's what nobody talks about. The moment you become aware of quantum reality becomes aware of you. And once that connection is established, once that recognition occurs, there's no going back to the old way of seeing. You're not just watching a video about transformation. You are the transformation happening in real time. Let me take you somewhere most people never go, to a place where science meets the deepest truths about how reality actually works. Because what you're about to understand will shift everything you thought you knew about time, about choice, about the very nature of existence itself. You see, there's something happening right now that most people completely miss. While you've been taught to think of your life as a series of random events, as reactions to circumstances beyond your control, as a story unfolding day by day, the truth is far more extraordinary. Your future self has been reaching back to you through time, leaving breadcrumbs, creating synchronicities, orchestrating the exact circumstances that would bring you to this understanding. This isn't mystical thinking. This is quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. And once you see how it works, you'll never experience reality the same way again. Think about the last week of your life. Really think about it. How many moments seemed like coincidences? How many times did exactly the right information show up at exactly the right time? How many conversations happened that felt strangely relevant to something you'd been thinking about? These weren't accidents. These were quantum echoes of a future that's already crystallized, reaching back to guide the present moment into alignment. But here's where most people get stuck. They think the future is something that happens to them, something they have to wait for, something that depends on external circumstances aligning just right. They're living in what quantum physicists call classical reality, the illusion that time moves in only one direction, that cause always precedes effect, that you are separate from the reality you're experiencing. This is the greatest lie ever told to human consciousness. In quantum reality, the observer and the observed are inseparably connected. Your consciousness isn't just watching reality unfold, it's actively participating in the creation of reality in every moment. And here's the part that changes everything. This creation isn't just happening in the present. It's happening across all time simultaneously. Your future self, the version of you that has already made the choices you're still contemplating, that has already become what you're dreaming of becoming, exists right now in quantum superposition. And that future self is constantly broadcasting information backward through time, creating the exact conditions in your present moment that will lead to that future becoming inevitable. If this is shifting something fundamental in how you see reality, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected with this frequency of understanding. This is why you're here. This is why you found this video. This is why these words are landing in your consciousness with a recognition that goes deeper than intellectual understanding. Your future self guided you here because this moment of realization is a crucial node in the timeline that leads to who you're becoming. Let me show you how this actually works. Every thought you think, every choice you make, Every emotion you feel is creating what quantum physicists call quantum signatures. Unique vibrational patterns that ripple through the fabric of space and time. These signatures don't just affect your local reality. They create interference patterns with other quantum signatures across time, establishing what we might call temporal resonance. When your future self achieves a particular state of consciousness, when they embody a certain frequency, when they step into a reality that you're currently only imagining, those quantum signatures ripple backward through time. They show up in your present moment as intuitive hunches, as sudden insights, as opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, as people saying exactly what you needed to hear. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. These quantum signatures operate on multiple layers simultaneously. On the mental layer, they appear as thoughts and ideas that seem to come from nowhere. Those sudden aha moments when you understand something you've never consciously learned. On the emotional layer, they manifest as feelings of knowing, as inexplicable attraction to certain choices, as gut instincts that guide you toward experiences your logical mind can't yet comprehend. On the physical layer, quantum signatures show up as what we call embodied resonance. Those moments when your body responds to something before your mind has even processed it. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt either energized or drained? Have you ever met someone and instantly known whether they were aligned with your path or not? This is your quantum signature field interfacing with the quantum signatures of your environment. And on the energetic layer, these signatures create what we might call reality anchors. Stable points in the quantum field that draw experiences toward you like a magnet draws iron filings. When your future self achieves a certain level of consciousness, that achievement creates an energetic anchor point that begins pulling your present moment reality toward that achievement. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract the experiences they desire, while others struggle with the same goals for years. It's not about worthiness or luck or external circumstances. It's about quantum signature alignment. It's about learning to recognize the difference between thoughts that originate from your current limitations and insights that are being transmitted from your future wisdom. This isn't speculation. This is observable, measurable quantum phenomena applied to consciousness. And once you understand it, you can work with it deliberately. But working with quantum signatures requires developing what we might call quantum literacy, the ability to distinguish between different types of information flowing through your consciousness. Most people experience a constant stream of mental chatter, emotional reactions, and sensory input, and they assume it's all the same kind of information. But quantum consciousness reveals that there are distinct categories of information, each originating from different sources and carrying different levels of creative power. There's information that comes from your conditioned past, thoughts, emotions, and reactions that are simply recycling old patterns, playing out familiar loops, repeating what you've always known. This information feels heavy, repetitive, limiting. It keeps you trapped in the same experiences because it's literally broadcasting the same quantum signatures you've always broadcasted. Then there's information that comes from your present moment awareness. Direct perception, immediate knowing, clear seeing of what's actually happening right now, without the filter of past conditioning or future projection. This information feels fresh, alive, responsive. It allows you to navigate current circumstances with clarity and presence. And then there's information that comes from your future self, insights, guidances, knowings that originate from a version of you that has already transcended your current limitations. This information feels expansive, inspiring, impossible yet somehow deeply true. It calls you toward experiences and choices that your logical mind might resist, but your deeper wisdom recognizes as exactly right. Learning to distinguish between these different streams of information is one of the most important skills you can develop as a quantum conscious being. Because when you can recognize which thoughts are coming from past conditioning, which perceptions are arising from present awareness, and which insights are being transmitted from future wisdom, you can begin to consciously choose which stream to follow. But here's what no one tells you about working with quantum consciousness. It requires you to completely reimagine your relationship to time and causality. You have to stop thinking of yourself as someone who is trying to create a future and start recognizing yourself as someone who is remembering a future that already exists. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from lack, from the assumption that what you want doesn't yet exist. You're pushing against the present moment, fighting with current circumstances, attempting to force reality to conform to your desires. This creates resistance, friction, struggle. It's exhausting because you're working against the natural flow of quantum consciousness. But when you shift into remembering, something completely different happens. You align with the quantum signature that your future self is broadcasting backward through time. You stop trying to create and start allowing yourself to become. You stop forcing outcomes and start following the synchronistic breadcrumbs that your future self is leaving for you. I'm curious, what old patterns of forcing or struggling are you ready to release? Share in the comments what you're choosing to let go of as you step into this flow. This is what's meant by effortless manifestation. It's not that no effort is required. It's that the effort becomes aligned with quantum flow rather than opposed to it. You're no longer swimming upstream against time. You're allowing time to carry you toward the future that's already crystallized. Let me give you a practical example of how this works in real life. Think about someone you know who seems to have an uncanny ability to be in the right place at the right time, to make decisions that consistently work out, to attract opportunities that others miss. These people aren't lucky. They're not blessed by some external force. They've simply learned, either consciously or unconsciously, to attune their present moment awareness to the quantum signatures being broadcast by their future self. They've learned to recognize the difference between thoughts that come from current limitations and insights that come from future wisdom. They've learned to distinguish between emotions that are reactions to present circumstances and feelings that are previews of coming attractions. They've learned to trust the subtle guidance that's always available when you know how to listen for it. But here's what most people don't understand about this process. It's not just about receiving guidance from your future self. It's about actively participating in a quantum dialogue across time. Your present moment choices and consciousness also influence what your future self is able to achieve. Your willingness to trust and act on quantum guidance strengthens the connection and makes even more sophisticated guidance possible. This creates what we might call a quantum feedback loop. Your future self sends guidance backward through time. You act on that guidance, which enables your future self to achieve even higher levels of consciousness, which enables them to send even more refined guidance, which allows you to make even more aligned choices, and so on. Over time, this quantum dialogue becomes so refined, so immediate, so seamless, that it feels less like receiving guidance from outside yourself and more like accessing different aspects of your own expanded consciousness. You begin to experience yourself not as a linear being moving through time, but as a multidimensional consciousness, expressing itself across multiple temporal coordinates simultaneously. This is when life begins to feel magical. This is when synchronicity becomes your natural language. This is when manifestation shifts from effort to flow, from force to allowance, from trying to happening. But reaching this level of quantum consciousness requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to uncertainty, how you navigate the unknown, how you respond to the gap between what is and what could be. Most people are terrified of uncertainty because they've been conditioned to believe that security comes from knowing, from controlling, from predicting outcomes in advance. Quantum consciousness invites you into a different relationship with the unknown. Instead of seeing uncertainty as dangerous, you begin to recognize it as the fertile void from which all possibilities emerge. Instead of trying to eliminate uncertainty, you learn to dance with it, to surf the waves of possibility, to find your footing in the space between what was and what could be. This doesn't mean becoming passive or careless about your choices. It means becoming actively receptive, consciously open, deliberately attuned to the quantum information that's constantly streaming through your awareness. It means learning to make decisions not just from what you currently know, but from what you sense is possible. Not just from present circumstances, but from future potential. And as you develop this capacity, as you become more comfortable with uncertainty, as you learn to trust the intelligence that's orchestrating your life, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to experience reality as infinitely responsive, as continuously creative, as fundamentally alive and aware and eager to co-create with you. This is a learnable skill. This is a developable capacity. This is your natural birthright as a quantum conscious being. Now, what we've explored today is really just touching the surface of a much deeper system of consciousness mastery. While we've unpacked how your future self broadcasts quantum signatures backward through time, there are layers upon layers of frequency work that transform this from occasional synchronicity into consistent, effortless creation. If you're feeling this pull to go deeper, to understand the complete framework of how consciousness operates across 9 distinct frequencies, I've put together everything I know about moving from seeking to being, from manifestation to embodiment, in my guide, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It's the step-by-step system for becoming the broadcast itself, rather than just receiving it. You'll find it linked in the pinned comment below. But developing this capacity requires you to let go of some deeply conditioned patterns of thinking and perceiving. You have to release the belief that you are a victim of circumstances. You have to stop identifying with the version of yourself that doesn't yet know what your future self knows. You have to become comfortable with uncertainty, because quantum consciousness operates in the space between what is and what could be. Most people resist this because uncertainty feels dangerous. The ego mind wants to know, wants to control, wants to predict and plan and manage every variable. But quantum consciousness requires you to trust an intelligence that is vaster than your personal mind, to surrender to a flow that is more elegant than your individual will. This doesn't mean becoming passive. This doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for things to happen to you. This means becoming actively receptive, consciously aligned, deliberately attuned to the quantum information that's constantly streaming through your consciousness. It means learning to ask different questions. Instead of, how can I make this happen? You ask, how is this already happening? Instead of, what do I need to do? You ask, what am I being guided to become? Instead of, "Why isn't this working?" you ask, "What is this showing me about the path I'm on?" These questions shift you out of classical consciousness and into quantum awareness. They align you with the flow of synchronicity rather than the struggle of force. They connect you with the version of yourself that already knows how this story ends. But there's something even deeper happening here that most people miss entirely. When you begin asking these quantum questions, when you start looking for the patterns and synchronicities and guidances that are always present, you're not just changing your perspective. You're literally altering the quantum field itself. Remember, in quantum physics, the observer and the observed are inseparably connected. Your consciousness isn't just watching reality unfold, it's actively participating in the creation of reality in every moment. And when you shift from classical observation to quantum observation, from passive watching to active participation, you change the fundamental nature of what becomes possible in your experience. This is why some people seem to live in a completely different reality than others, even when they're surrounded by the same circumstances. They're not just seeing the same reality differently. They're literally existing in a different quantum field, one that's been shaped by their level of consciousness, their quality of observation, their way of participating in the creative process. And here's what's most remarkable. This different quantum field doesn't just affect their individual experience, it affects everyone they come into contact with. When someone is operating from quantum consciousness, their very presence begins to shift the quantum field around them, creating opportunities for others to experience higher possibilities, deeper synchronicities, more elegant solutions. This is why being around certain people feels inspiring, while being around others feels draining. It's not just about personality or energy, it's about the quantum field they're generating through their level of consciousness. People who operate from quantum awareness literally broadcast a field of possibility that invites others into their own expanded potential. And as you begin to operate from this level of consciousness, as you start to generate your own field of quantum possibility, you become what we might call a reality catalyst. Someone whose very presence accelerates the manifestation process for themselves and others. But becoming a reality catalyst requires more than just understanding these principles intellectually. It requires embodying them, living them, breathing them until they become your natural way of being. And this embodiment process involves working with resistance, with doubt, with the parts of yourself that want to cling to familiar patterns, even when those patterns are limiting. Every time you choose quantum consciousness over classical limitation, every time you trust guidance over control, every time you follow synchronicity over force, you're literally rewiring your nervous system to support higher levels of possibility. You're training your brain to recognize and respond to quantum information rather than just classical data. This rewiring process can feel challenging at first because you're essentially teaching yourself to operate from an entirely different operating system. It's like learning a new language, developing a new sense, awakening capacities that have been dormant for most of your life. But as this rewiring progresses, as these new neural pathways become stronger and more stable, what initially required conscious effort begins to happen naturally. Quantum consciousness becomes your default way of perceiving. Synchronicity becomes your primary navigation system. Co-creation with the universe becomes as natural as breathing. And here's something beautiful. The more you practice this alignment, the stronger the connection becomes. The more you trust the guidance from your future self, the clearer that guidance becomes. The more you act on synchronistic opportunities, the more synchronistic opportunities appear. What synchronicity or guidance have you been ignoring that's trying to get your attention? Drop a comment and share what your future self might be trying to tell you. You're literally strengthening the quantum entanglement between your present moment awareness and your future self-consciousness. You're building a bridge across time that becomes more stable and reliable the more you use it. This is why some people seem to live charmed lives, while others struggle with the same dreams for years. It's not about worthiness or luck or external circumstances. It's about quantum alignment. It's about learning to collaborate with time rather than fighting against it. And once you understand this, once you begin to experience it firsthand, you can never go back to the old way of thinking. You can never again believe that you're separate from the reality you're experiencing. You can never again accept that you're powerless to influence your circumstances. But let me warn you about something. Once you start experiencing reality this way, once you begin to see the quantum intelligence that's orchestrating your life, you can never go back to the old way of thinking. You can never again believe that you're separate from the reality you're experiencing. You can never again accept that you're powerless to influence your circumstances. This awareness comes with tremendous responsibility, because once you know that your consciousness is constantly creating reality, you become accountable for the reality you're creating. You can no longer blame external circumstances for your experience. You can no longer pretend that your thoughts and feelings don't matter. You can no longer play small because you think you don't have any real influence. But here's what's beautiful about this responsibility. It's also tremendous empowerment. Because when you truly understand that you are co-creating reality in every moment, when you recognize that your consciousness is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, when you realize that you have the ability to work with quantum intelligence rather than against it, everything becomes possible. You do have influence. You have more influence than you've ever imagined. Your consciousness is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and learning to use that power wisely, learning to align it with love rather than fear, with service rather than selfishness, with truth rather than illusion. This is the great work of conscious evolution. This is the journey from unconscious creation to conscious creation, from random manifestation to deliberate manifestation, from accidental influence to intentional influence. And this journey doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process of awakening, of remembering, of coming back to the truth of who you really are. Every day offers new opportunities to practice quantum consciousness. Every moment presents fresh invitations to choose collaboration over resistance. Every experience provides another chance to recognize yourself as a co-creator rather than a victim. And as you practice, as you develop this capacity, as you strengthen this connection with your quantum nature, you begin to notice that life becomes less effortful and more flowing, less conflicted and more harmonious, less accidental and more purposeful. This is why you're here. This is why this moment is happening. Your future self needs you to understand this, needs you to step into this awareness, needs you to begin operating from this level of consciousness. Because the future that wants to emerge through you depends on you making this shift. And that future is magnificent. I can feel it from here, rippling backward through time, calling to something deep within you that recognizes its truth. It's a future where you're no longer struggling against reality, but dancing with it. Where you're no longer trying to force outcomes, but allowing them to emerge naturally. Where you're no longer living from fear, but from a deep trust in the intelligence that's orchestrating everything. But that future doesn't exist in some distant tomorrow. That future is being created right now, in this moment, through your willingness to see reality differently, to think differently, to choose differently. That future is calling to you through every synchronicity you notice, through every intuitive guidance you receive, through every moment of alignment you experience. The question is, are you listening? Are you responding? Are you allowing yourself to be guided by the intelligence that knows exactly how to bring this future into manifestation? Because here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to figure this out alone. You don't have to force this transformation through willpower. You don't have to become someone different than who you are. You simply have to remember who you've always been beneath the conditioning, beneath the limitations, beneath the beliefs that have kept you trapped in classical reality. You are already quantum consciousness. You have always been quantum consciousness. You are simply awakening to what has always been true. Every moment of your life, your consciousness has been interacting with the quantum field, shaping reality, creating experiences, influencing outcomes. You've just been doing it unconsciously, automatically, without awareness of your creative power. Now you're being invited to do it consciously, deliberately, with full recognition of your role in the creative process. You're being invited to become a conscious co-creator rather than an unconscious creator, to work with quantum intelligence rather than against it, to align with the flow of possibility rather than resisting it. And as you make this shift, as you step into conscious creation, as you begin to work deliberately with your quantum nature, you'll discover capacities within yourself that you never knew existed. You'll experience synchronicities that seem miraculous. You'll attract opportunities that appear impossible. You'll find solutions that emerge from nowhere. But more than that, you'll experience a deep sense of coming home to yourself, of remembering who you really are, of aligning with a purpose and meaning that goes far beyond your individual life. Because this awakening isn't just personal. This shift into quantum consciousness isn't just about improving your individual circumstances. This is about participating in the greatest transformation in human history, the evolution of consciousness itself. But that future requires you to make a choice right now. It requires you to step out of victim consciousness and into creator consciousness. It requires you to stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself permission. It requires you to stop looking for external validation and start trusting your internal guidance. This choice isn't something you make once and then forget about. This choice happens in every moment, with every thought, with every emotional response, with every decision about how to interpret what's happening in your life. Are you going to see this moment as random, as something happening to you, as another day in a life that feels stuck and repetitive? Or are you going to recognize this moment as part of a greater pattern, as a piece of cosmic choreography, as your future self reaching back to guide you toward what you're becoming? The choice is always yours. But here's what I want you to understand. Choosing quantum consciousness isn't just a personal decision. It's a collective one. Every person who makes this shift, who begins operating from this level of awareness, who starts collaborating with time rather than fighting against it, contributes to a global awakening that's already underway. We are living through the most extraordinary time in human history. We are witnessing the emergence of a new species of consciousness, a new way of being human that transcends the limitations that have defined our species for millennia. And you are not just witnessing this emergence, you are participating in it. You are one of the pioneers exploring this new frontier of human potential. Take a moment and feel into that. Feel into the magnitude of what we're talking about. Feel into the significance of this moment in the larger story of human evolution. Feel into the possibility that your life, your choices, your consciousness matters in ways you've never fully grasped. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase: I am quantum consciousness awakening to itself. Not as a casual interaction, but as an energetic declaration, as a conscious interruption in the loop of ordinary awareness, as a signal to the field that you're ready to step into this understanding. Because when you make this declaration, when you consciously choose to align with quantum consciousness, you're not just changing your individual reality, you're contributing to the collective shift that's happening all across the planet. You're adding your voice to a choir of awakening consciousness that is literally changing the world. And this is just the beginning. As you begin to work with these principles, as you start to experience the synchronicities and guidances that come with quantum alignment, you're going to discover things about reality that will astound you. You're going to realize that the universe is far more magical, far more responsive, far more alive than you ever imagined. You're going to discover that consciousness and matter are not separate things, but different aspects of the same fundamental reality. You're going to experience firsthand that your thoughts and feelings are not private events happening inside your head, but creative forces that literally shape the world around you. You're going to realize that time is not a river flowing in one direction, but an ocean in which past, present, and future exist simultaneously, in which your consciousness can navigate freely once you understand the principles of quantum navigation. And as these realizations deepen, as these experiences multiply, as this understanding becomes lived reality rather than intellectual concept, you're going to find yourself naturally wanting to share it, to live it, to embody it so fully that your very presence becomes an invitation for others to remember their own quantum nature. This understanding will revolutionize every aspect of your life. Your relationships will transform as you begin to see the quantum entanglements that connect you with others. Your work will evolve as you start to recognize your role in the larger pattern of collective awakening. Your relationship with money, with health, with creativity, with purpose, everything will shift as you begin operating from quantum consciousness rather than classical limitation. But here's what's most important. This isn't about becoming someone different. This is about remembering who you've always been. This is about accessing a level of your own consciousness that has always existed, but has been covered over by conditioning, by programming, by the belief that you are separate from the reality you're experiencing. You are not separate. You have never been separate. You are an integral part of the quantum field that is constantly creating reality. You are consciousness itself, temporarily wearing the costume of a human personality, temporarily playing the role of someone who is learning these things for the first time. But the truth is, some part of you has always known this. Some part of you has always been operating from quantum consciousness. Some part of you has always been in communication with your future self, has always been following the synchronistic guidance, has always been participating in the cosmic dance of creation. The only thing that's changing is your conscious awareness of what's already happening. The only thing that's shifting is your willingness to recognize and work with the quantum intelligence that has been guiding your life all along. And as this recognition deepens, as this willingness expands, your life will begin to feel less like something that's happening to you and more like something you're consciously creating in collaboration with the universe itself. This is the invitation that's being extended to you right now. This is the opportunity that your future self has been orchestrating for who knows how long. This is the moment where everything can change, where you can step out of the story of limitation and into the story of infinite possibility. But you have to choose it. You have to say yes to it. You have to be willing to release the familiar patterns of thinking and perceiving that keep you trapped in classical reality. If this understanding is touching something deep within you, if these words are awakening a recognition that goes beyond intellectual comprehension, if you feel something shifting in your consciousness even as you listen to this, then I invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this frequency, to this movement of consciousness that is awakening all across the planet. Subscribe to stay connected with this understanding, to continue deepening into these principles, to be part of the community of consciousness that is pioneering this new way of being human. Because the journey we're on is not one you take alone. It's a collective awakening, a species-wide evolution, a transformation that requires all of us working together. And every person who makes this shift, who chooses quantum consciousness over classical limitation, who begins operating from future memory rather than past conditioning, makes it easier for the next person to make the same choice. This is how consciousness evolution works. This is how new realities come into being. This is how the impossible becomes inevitable. As we begin to wrap up our time together, I want you to take a moment to really feel into what's been stirred up within you during this conversation. What insights have emerged? What recognitions have dawned? What possibilities have opened up that weren't there before you pressed play on this video? Because those insights, those recognitions, those possibilities, they're not just mental concepts. They're quantum signatures, vibrational patterns, frequency adjustments that are literally reshaping your reality field, even as we speak. The fact that you're here, the fact that you've stayed with me through this entire journey, the fact that something in you recognizes the truth of what we've been exploring. This is evidence that the shift is already happening within you. This is proof that your future self has successfully made contact with your present moment awareness. Now the question is, what are you going to do with this contact? How are you going to honor this connection? How are you going to allow it to transform not just your understanding, but your actual lived experience? Because understanding without embodiment is just intellectual entertainment. Recognition without integration is just spiritual bypassing. The real magic happens when you take what you've discovered here and begin living it, breathing it, embodying it in every moment of your life. This means paying attention to synchronicities with new eyes. This means trusting your intuitive guidance with new confidence. This means making decisions from future wisdom rather than present limitation. This means recognizing yourself as a quantum conscious being rather than a helpless victim of circumstances. It means waking up each morning with the awareness that today is not just another day in your life, but another opportunity to collaborate with your future self in creating the reality you're meant to inhabit. It means going to sleep each night with gratitude for the quantum intelligence that's orchestrating your life, with trust in the process that's unfolding through you, with excitement for the synchronicities and guidances that tomorrow will bring. This is the path of quantum consciousness. This is the journey of awakening to your true nature as a creator being. This is the adventure of remembering that you are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of its ongoing creation. And the most beautiful thing about this journey is that it never ends. There is no final destination, no ultimate achievement, no point at which you've mastered quantum consciousness completely. There are only deeper levels of understanding, more subtle recognitions, more elegant alignments with the flow of creation itself. Every day brings new opportunities to practice these principles. Every moment offers fresh invitations to choose quantum consciousness over classical limitation. Every experience provides another chance to recognize yourself as the creator of your reality rather than its victim. This is what it means to live as a quantum conscious being. This is what it means to collaborate with time rather than fighting against it. This is what it means to dance with reality rather than struggling against it. And the more you practice this dance, the more graceful it becomes. The more you trust this collaboration, the more miraculous your life becomes. The more you embody quantum consciousness, the more obvious it becomes that this is not just a nice idea, but the fundamental truth of existence itself. So as we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with an invitation and a challenge. The invitation is to begin implementing what you've learned here immediately. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you understand everything completely. Don't wait for external permission. Start paying attention to the quantum signatures that your future self is broadcasting right now. Start following the synchronistic breadcrumbs that are being left for you. Start asking the questions that align you with quantum consciousness rather than classical limitation. And the challenge is to share this understanding with others, not by preaching or convincing or trying to convert anyone, but by embodying these principles so fully that your very presence becomes an invitation for others to remember their own quantum nature. Because this awakening is not meant to be kept to yourself.